Hello, everybody, and welcome back to De-Employed. As you can see, I still need a green screen. Alright, now, what I wanted to talk about today is give you guys a little bit of history as to what my current D&D group is. A little bit of our history, and then kind of talk about character creation, what I've been doing with that. Now, keep in mind, as I've mentioned in some previous videos, everything that I do for D&D at this point is in 3.5, right? I've tried to mix in other aspects of different games like First Edition Pathfinder, but mainly now I stick with 3.5. Seems to work, but, not all changes are forever. Now, as far as my current group, my group of friends, because they're not just my players, they're my friends. Okay? I've got 4 players or 4 friends, and these 4 people, it's 2 couples. And oh, how would I describe them? Okay, so I've got one guy. He is what I will call my min-maxer. Okay? He knows the game, he knows the rules, and he absolutely is a min-maxer. Now, that said, I mean, he plays his characters well, although they all seem to have one universal personality trait, and that is they are all egotistical. But that aside, he is very aware of who his characters are, what they are, but he's a min-maxer, okay? And, I mean, it is what it is. Players are what they are. Now, the other guy that plays, okay, he is more, he knows the rules, he knows the game, but he is more eccentric in what he wants to do with his characters. His, he is probably the best explorer of personalities, explorer of concepts. Okay? If he has a unique idea, he wants to run with it. He loves to have weird ideas thrown at him. And he loves to throw weird ideas at me. The one consistent thing that, well, there's 2 really, that I have seen as a consistent thing with his characters. Right? One is that he likes to go down a leadership path. He wants to have followers. He wants to create his own cult. He wants to go down that kind of path, whether it be cult, whether it be leadership, armies, whatever, right? That is him. He wants to be, in some manner, in a leadership kind of role, which absolutely love it. The other thing that I've noticed is a lot of his characters like to cook.
Plating in 5.
Yes, Chef!
I love you all.
We love you too, Chef!
Alright. Yeah, craft cooking. It's a skill, and you know what? You can do a lot with that. I haven't implemented this yet, but there is an idea I have that I want to start implementing. And I think you'd have to have 2 skills to go along with this. One, of course, would be the craft cooking, and the other is craft alchemy, or just alchemy. There's a lot of games that I've played where you can get or make food that gives special benefits. Okay, whether it be a temporary plus to hit or a temporary plus to your strength, something like that, right? It's something that I want to implement. I don't know how to do it yet because I feel like that has to be specific to the food that is being made. For instance, if the meat that you're grilling is dragon meat cooked with a little bit of alchemy involved, could provide benefits to strength, wisdom, a variety of things. So it's a thought, but I haven't figured it out yet. If anybody that watches this video has a link to somebody who has created these kinds of rules, I would love to see it. Now, there's two other players. And I'm going to start with my beast mode, right? Because that's what she is. She is beast mode. And it's partly my fault. And quite honestly, it also fits her personality. Loves to tank. She loves to get in people's faces and just pummel them. She has no problem taking hits. And this has been to her detriment more than once. I'm going to save that story for one of my Bard Tale episodes. Alright, but yeah, it has been a weakness for her. Now my other character, or my other player, excuse me, she is what I call my agent of chaos. Now she loves to be fun with her characters, okay? And oh man. But when I say agent of chaos, it's because she will say and do things that are that typical derail the DM kind of moments. Kind of got some ideas in motion, you got some plans, and she will just completely derail what the plan is. And I love her for it, okay? Because it makes me think on the fly. It makes me impulsive in my gaming, right? Now, it's fun. It really is, and I love all four of these players. They are a good formation of what you want a good D&D party to be, okay? And the min-maxer, he loves to get into melee, but if something comes up with his character that is not melee, I'm going to talk about that here in a moment with character creation, he also min-maxes the heck out of that, and it's amazing. And, I mean, I don't know what else to say. These guys are great. And, you know, with permission from them, because I won't do it without their permission, I may end up having some videos where you'll get to see who these people are, who these players are. But, you know, we'll see. Maybe. Alright, now, I did want to talk a bit about my world and then about character creation. I've been DMing for this group of players for 12 years, maybe 13, I think, right? And so, yeah, we try whenever we can to get together on the weekends and we play. I don't have a hard rule of we are playing every week. It tends to work out, right? And that's because, they have their own lives. And I'm not going to push them to devote to the game when they have their own lives. Both couples have young children, right? And what can I say? They're raising the next generation. But that is just them. And as far as getting together, we do it when we can, and it's easier during the winter or the fall, winter, and spring when school's in, because during the summer, kids are on vacation, so they do camping trips. They make other trips, right? They're involved in sporting events, all that kind of stuff. But let me get back onto the subject of my world, okay? Like I said, I've been DMing these guys for 12, 13 years. It has been the same world throughout. I think we're on the 7th campaign now, because what I'm doing is that with every failed campaign, it rolls into the next, right? That keeps some consistency in my world. If they fail, that makes the world worse. Or if they succeed, it makes the world better. It has not gotten better. I'm hoping that this one that we're on right now will be the one that makes the world better. But it hasn't gotten better. Alright? Now, that aside, what I try to do is I try to evolve my world with each failed campaign. Okay, you failed this campaign. This is the thing that changes in the world because of it. Okay, yeah, I'm going to discuss this more in the Bard Tales, but that's what I've been doing, and it keeps that consistency running. Now, with each campaign, however, I do something for them. Actually, I'm going to say I do two different things. One is that I give them a kind of an overview, 3,000 foot level, as they say, of what we're doing. Okay, and then as they get into the campaign, they start digging into stuff. They'll find out more as they go. Okay, and that first bit is the introduction to what the world is. Okay, then the other thing that I do is, of course, character creation. I've been doing something kind of different with them. Okay, and that is I make them randomize their characters. And they get to pick their feats, they get to pick their skills, they get to do those things. But what we're doing is making the race and the class random. And I make them roll for it. So let me show you here what I am talking about. Cha-cha. There we go. This is the sheet for them. Right? Now, I tell them what level we're starting at. Max Yeah, I tell them, and this has been a consistent thing, max hit points at first level. That helps, especially if we're starting at first level. Okay. The other thing, and I've done this for quite a while, is when rolling for stats, we're doing 4d6, and you take the best 3. There is one floating 6 that they have to keep track of what their rolls are, and then I let them look over what their numbers are, and they can substitute one of the dice for a 6. Right? Now, yes, that has absolutely created some really high stats. Okay? But the other thing that it does is, and I tell them, you don't have to pick your 6 yet, right? But let's roll your class and let's roll your race. Because then, let's say, for instance, they roll up a monk, right? Monks, you want a lot of high, not necessarily super high, but decent stats, right? If you really want to play the monk the way you want to, okay? So I tell them to hold that 6, and let's figure out the stats after you find out what your race and your class is, okay? And this is kind of what I was referring to earlier with my min-maxer. Last time he rolled up, he got a high elf and sorcerer. He did not want to play a sorcerer, right? But this is what we do. So you can see here, it's a d20. You roll up and you get your race, you get your class, right? Yeah, this creates a wide array of possibilities, or at least on this campaign it did. If you're doing something like this, just think about it. You don't have to have 20 different options on these, but for this campaign, this worked. If you want to do something like this, I recommend it. If for nothing else, if you've got experienced players, this can be something that will push them out of their comfort zones. It's fun, and it has created some memorable moments. I will leave it at that. The other thing that I've done is I've listed out the prestige classes that I am willing to accept. And yeah, I've done a lot of prestige classes here. But if you've played 3.5, you know this is a drop in the bucket for the various prestige classes. That is what I've done to try to limit down the prestige classes, right? Because trust me when I tell you, if you've got somebody who's like my min-maxer who knows all of the things, it can get crazy. I made that mistake in the first couple of campaigns, was just letting them do whatever they wanted. Yeah. Yeah, it's been entertaining, but this is what I do. It sets up the restrictions. It sets up the limits for what the characters can do and what they can be. And as you can see here, you've still got a wide array of options. And so, yeah, that is what I do with my campaigns and how I manage the character creation. All right, let me get back in here to my workshop. There we go. Now, if you have any questions, any ideas that go along with character creation, hit me up with them. I love to hear new ideas. If it's a good idea, I accept them. I take them. So that's all I've got for right now. Have a good one.